Welcome back to the Philly Escape podcast. We're five today. We're five strong. We got Harsha bringing his boy in, Austin. We got Brits. We got Jackson. We got myself, Anthony Caputi. Good episode today. Kind of sad though, boys. Kind of sad with the 76.
Very sad.
Jackson, I know you want to talk about the good. Brits, are you feeling any good coming out of like yesterday? Because I don't feel like anything. I don't feel great. I will say, I was the one who said they have to win 2 home games to win the series. So I don't know if you guys are in that same ballpark. I don't know if it's like, do we win in Boston games? I mean, Harsha, you were saying Game 7 series. Well, you said Game 7 series Eastern Conference Finals was kind of the goal this year.
That's the goal.
Boston may be the hardest team we're playing against in the playoffs. If we make it past them, who knows what could happen.
I think they're definitely the hardest team we're going to play in the playoffs. And
I would agree with that.
I tried to answer your question. I tried to see good as some kind of good, and then I started listening to the radio stations, and I always get mad at them for being pissed off, and I couldn't find any fault in them. They're right. We should be pissed off right now.
Usually
we played 2 back-to-back pretty horrible games.
So this is my question for you guys, and maybe we open it up with this. What is the Sixers' identity, or what should the Sixers' identity be going into today's game? Because I feel like they've lost it over the past 2 games. You didn't have Embiid from the first one. You had Harden going off for 45, so that was kind of like, all right, guys, we need threes. We need to go off without Embiid. Defense is going to be a little tough because we don't have him posting up, our 7-foot guy down there. Paul Reed's going to play a lot of minutes. So it seems like it was clear what the game plan had to be. But when you had Embiid back, is he 50%? What percentage is he at? But what does our identity need to be? Because, if we're kind of playing off of him, and it's, not outside shooting 3 balls, then what's it going to be? We need to, I feel like, re-identify ourselves here in this game. So I'll kick it off to let's kick it off with the birthday boy in Austin. Let's see what you guys got. What should our identity be going into Game 4 here?
How do we win this game, Harsha?
How do we do it? What's the ticket? What's the ticket to winning this game, basically?
Bro,
and
honestly,
the series, quite frankly.
The series, in my opinion, the series is on the line in this home game. And I say that because
absolutely,
if we go down 3-1 going back to Boston,
no chance. Zero
that's
chance.
barbecue.
It's done. Yeah.
That's barbecue chicken for Tatum and Brown to just start teeing off, right? So to me, I don't care what the identity is. I don't care if we run and gun. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, that was my mom.
Mom,
real professional broadcast we got going on here.
I know.
While Mom's here, does she have a take on this? I mean,
no, probably not. No, probably not.
Okay, all right.
No, I think for us, it's win at all costs. Dude, I don't care what we have to do. If we got to run and gun, if we got to slow the game down, if we got to, play a little the bad boy Pistons teams, right? Just get the win, get this series back to Boston, and take it 1 game at a time.
I feel like Embiid needs to go off in this game. Does anybody else feel that way? I feel like this needs to be a 35 bomb at least.
I feel like we haven't seen it yet. I feel like we're waiting for that, and we just haven't
seen his signature Embiid game at all this series, and we need one.
He needs to be. He's been pretty good defensively. I mean, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I feel like he's making a lot of stops at the rim.
He's doing that thing where it's he's anticipating really well in defense, and he lets the guy go for the layup and just gets the block every time. So he's doing his normal defensive Embiid things.
I would say his biggest problem right now is when he's getting the ball and they're kind of sending guys at him, he's going back to his old ways of just turning it over instead of making a good pass and finding the right guy. Because he used to be his biggest problem was when they would double and triple team him, he would just cough it up. And then over the last couple of years, he's done so well of just either fighting through it or just drawing a foul or finding an open man. He hasn't done any of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember. Do you remember that one of the first Boston series we got into? Literally, every single time he would get double teamed, it would be a turnover, right? And now it's just the same thing. And Austin, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but I feel like when we were watching the game at B-Dubs, it just felt like triple team, pass out, and then we miss a shot.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I almost feel like we don't really need Embiid to be like the hero of this game. I feel like one of the things that the Celtics excel at is having other guys kind of step up. I mean, they had in game 2, Tatum had like 7 or 8 points or something and absolutely went off. In game 1, they still lost. So I feel like that kind of showed us that Tatum's output is not going to dictate whether that's a win or a loss for the Celtics, at least. And you have just a lot of guys that can really step up. I really think that getting that 3rd, 4th, or 5th guy on the Sixers lineup to have a big game, if Maxey could drop 30 points or something like that, or if Harris could come out with a big game, I think that that would be a lot more impactful in terms of feeling like the identity of this team is that they actually have a team, as opposed to, all right, well, Embiid's out, we're just going to rely on Harden to score 45, his career high in the playoffs, or all right, Embiid's back, well, now you're scoring 45. Like, I just think that, again, with that hero ball that he feels like he has to play, and then he gets doubled, he turns it over, especially with the hurt knee, like, it's probably a lot harder for him to get out of those double teams when you're trying to pivot on one foot all over the place, and then you just can't get the ball out. So.
And that's a great point. So a couple questions to follow up on that. One, do the Sixers have the bench and players to rival what the Celtics have? Because you have guys like Brogdon, 6th man of the year, coming off the bench and throwing up threes constantly. Who is that guy in the Sixers that, and you just said Tobias and also Maxey, which I agree. I think they need to pop off. Do we rely on Embiid too much to be that hero guy, like you're saying, and do we have the players on the Sixers to rival the Celtics? Because I think we need like a Melton to step up and hit his threes. I think, what was he, like 5 or 6 or something crazy in the first game? So I agree. I think we win when you create those open shots for the Sixers that the Celtics have been getting. But they also have Tatum and guys like Jaylen Brown who can hit them anyway, even when they're being covered at the line. So Jackson, what are your thoughts on this? Can we rival the Celtics? What's your strategy on this game?
I think we stick with what we've been doing for the most part, but maybe alter it a little bit. I think definitely the huge part is that we're just not hitting our threes. Like in the first game, we were drilling threes. We are like we talked about. We are the best 3-point shooting team in the league. So I mean, I think we definitely can rival Boston. I think Boston, they have a better depth, they have better bench depth, obviously. But I think Melton's good. I think Niang's good. They can hit their threes. I think McDaniels is good at defense. I feel like the big problem right now is that Embiid's hurt and the offense just doesn't roll as nicely with him, not being able to move. He has to be mobile somewhat. There's plays where Harden's rolling to the net and Embiid's just not following him. And if that's happening, then I feel like we're just not getting good ball movement. Every once in a while, you'll see a play where they have good ball movement and we actually take a good shot. But I don't think the bad 3-point percentage from these past few games has been because the players stink. I think we're just having bad ball movement and we're taking bad shots. It feels like we're taking bad shots and Boston's taking good shots.
I
so
completely agree with that.
Yeah. So
hopefully,
if that's of Embiid moving so slow.
Yeah, that's what I think.
What do you do with
potentially. I think potentially we need to either play Embiid less or hope he gets healthier. I think there was a report out that he was feeling really good. I think honestly you could see. I think towards the end of the game they started pulling it together in Game 3, and I thought they were playing good, but it was too little, too late, and there were a few bad plays that kind of ruined it. But I don't know. I thought if they played how they played at the end of the game for the full game, we might have had a chance. I don't know. I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think we do have a chance in this series. I think that Embiid is going to be a little bit healthier, and hopefully that will help. I don't know. Boston can't continue to hit this good of a clip. It's kind of nuts.
So from you, it's relying on Embiid's health. Well, they're hitting, but it's different players.
I mean, Maxey needs to play better. Harden needs to play better. Toby needs to play better. Everybody needs to play better. But I think it relies on Embiid being healthy. I think I don't know. We might not have the best defense on our starting lineup. Maybe it might be better to switch. I think maybe it might be better to switch Maxey to 6-man, move Melton up to the starting lineup, and then maybe think about playing McDaniels more just for better wing defense
during the season a little bit. They kind of did a little bit of that. So
I mean, but game 4 is do or die, guys. I think we all can agree on
absolutely.
That.
I think we're
so. I mean, I know so. I don't think there's any way we can. I mean, we could win 2 games in Boston, I guess, but not the way we're playing right now.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta win Game 4 just so we can at least bring it back for Game 6.
I don't think they even. I don't think they'll even have the fortitude to lose 3 straight and then go to win in 2 straight in Boston. They're gonna be wiped out. They're not gonna believe in it.
I think that they should understand that this is like really like a very important season and they can't mess up this season. I think a lot is on the line with this game.
This
So
season,
you're saying
this is probably the last dance in a way.
changes are coming with whether it's Doc. I don't think it's Embiid. I won't go that far. I don't want that to
And
happen.
we're gonna hear about it all.
We're gonna
if they
hear
lose
it.
This, though.
We're gonna hear it. That's for sure. I've already heard it on the radio. But what do you guys think of? Go ahead, Arsha, and then I'll.
Yeah, I think Doc is going if they lose the series.
I think so too. I think that
Seems to be the
That'd be great.
consensus mostly.
Yeah, because like, okay, so here's the thing: Doc's won a ring, right? He's won with other teams. I get you don't have your best guy, but you're an NBA championship winning coach. You should know how to win without your best player in a series. Like you're good. Like you have like, okay, Sans Embiid. If we have Embiid 70-80%, right? We still have Harden. We still have Toby. We still have Maxey. That is good enough to at least get this series to 7 games.
Well, I feel like the unfortunate part is he did win without Embiid, and then we just keep losing with Embiid.
Yeah,
Dude, it seems like
it's a
well, it
tough
also
spot.
took a historical game from Harden to do that. But I mean, it just looks like we're not making any, like we talked about earlier. Like there's just no ball movement. Like it looks like Embiid brings it up, we kick it out, and we take a very defended three-point shot. And then we just don't. And then the Celtics walk down. They make a couple passes and they have a wide open 3-point shot.
Wide
And
open.
it's like,
Like how many wide open Al Horfords have we seen?
It looks like a practice, dude. It looks like a practice, and we're like the B team to the Celtics.
Like if
But that's
you-
what I think we're saying the Celtics have better bench depth, but I think like our starting lineup is better than the Celtics starting lineup. So like I feel like we should be
But they're
playing
not
better. I
playing
don't
like
understand
it though.
what's
That's what I'm
going
saying.
I know.
Like, I mean, I agree with that. Like we rival the Celtics, if not are better. I think with our starting
I
five.
just don't think we balance each other out. Like when Marcus Smart could have a good night, and Tatum's off. Like Austin was saying, 7 points in the 19 minutes that he played.
PJ Tucker's been non-existent.
I mean, they balance each other out. What happened to the offensive boards that we got during the Nets series that we haven't been getting this series, that the Celtics have been getting this series? That completely changes a game when you hit that second or third shot that you get. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe you do play Embiid, but maybe you play him less. Maybe you rely on his health, which I don't think will change, in the past couple days. But I think, why can't we still treat Harden as the main guy, superstar going into this game rather than Embiid being that guy?
I think like Austin was saying though, like it shouldn't. I think realistically there shouldn't be some main guy. Like it should just be the team working cohesively.
Of course,
right?
but I would say that Harden, maybe there was a press conference the other day, and a reporter asked Harden the question of like I don't know what the question was, but it was basically what is your role, and he commented, "I'll play whatever role that is, whether it's that night one where I'm the main guy and I'm popping off or whatever. If that's what I have to do, if Embiid's back." I'll work off of him to get him the ball to, get him his shots.
I think they just need to make the right play in the moment and not worry about who's scoring.
Well,
exactly. That's basketball.
No, I completely agree. It just seems like
basketball.
it never comes.
Just play basketball.
It never comes down to that though in the playoffs for us. It's always, especially in these second round matchups, we always struggle to look like a unit. It's always like someone has to go off, or it's a tight game against a team that we probably should be blowing out, or now we're playing probably the best team we've ever played in the second round, maybe minus the Raptors. It depends how you look at it, but like it never looks like the regular season. It never does.
And that's what's the most frustrating.
I think it's because Embiid's hurt.
Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, but like
part of it, yeah.
Dude, if you're hurt every playoffs, at some point you kind of just got to fight through it and just either take over or make it so that you are like just contributing in better ways for the team. I'm not saying it's Embiid's fault. I think it's mostly. I think he actually played pretty well considering last game, but like the rest of the team is just they're not getting open. They're not getting making good passes. Like it looks bad. Like it doesn't look like it doesn't look just like okay and it's not enough. It looks bad.
Would you guys? I mean, I know it's crazy. Would you guys consider? No, I don't know. You mentioned
I'm going to be the guy who considers playing. If he's still at the same
Like
level.
split the minutes between him and Paul Reed. I don't know.
If that's what it takes for these guys to get better ball movement, to feel like we're getting the open shots that we need to, just the right flow of the game, that's what it takes. You have to do what it takes to win. What Harsha keeps saying. I mean, that's what it takes at this point.
It's all hands on deck. We are not. If we go back to Boston, we are not going back 3-1 down. Because if we do, we might as well pack our bags because these guys aren't. They don't have the experience to do it.
How do you win 3 games in a row against the Celtics? You don't. There's no way. It's not going to happen.
And the series has to. When they board that flight to Boston tonight, that series has to be 2-2, and that is the message going to this game this afternoon.
So but to Britz's point, I think the most frustrating part is that you see during the whole season how Harden and Embiid have been working together with those pick and rolls. I mean, dirtiest thing I've ever seen. And then obviously Embiid's hurt, so that's a part of it. But to not be able to pull off that same game plan in the playoffs is just, if you have a full Embiid, I'm probably full health Embiid. I'm probably looking at the series and saying they're probably going to win. Like I'm like high confidence they're going to win the series. Of course, he gets hurt, and I'm like, there's a chance, but
So if Embiid could roll, I feel like we'd be set. I don't know,
dude.
Yeah.
I think we need to. I don't know. Harden controlling the ball right now. It looks like he's not making the passes that you expect him to make. He's not driving and then kicking it out. He's literally just going for the foul every time, and they're not giving him the calls. That's a huge thing that I've noticed the last 3 games.
We're not going to give him to him.
He's just driving the net, making a weird off balance layup or something, and then just not getting the foul call, and then just complaining every time. And that is the most infuriating thing. To when that doesn't work 5 times in a row and you keep doing it, give Maxey the ball or something. Give somebody else the ball, because we need I don't know, because I can't stand watching him do that over and over. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
It starts to become his game. It's either that or throwing up a 3. But all right, let me ask you guys this: are we all in agreement that right coach, right players are here, looking at the series, knowing that Embiid was hurt? We could win the series. We still can.
It's always like that though, man. It's like that every year. At some point, it's
So,
I don't know.
do you agree that we have the players, we have the team, even with this hurt Embiid?
Austin, I think you got something here.
Yeah,
Answer truthfully.
I'd love to be. I'm a positive person, but we also lost 3 out of 4 during the regular season. So it's not like we blasted the Celtics in the regular season every time that we played them, and then we get into the playoffs and it looks like a different team. The Celtics are a really good team and rival the top teams in the NBA. So this is not surprising. I think the way that it's turned out, maybe the order in which they're winning or which teams is winning is maybe a little surprising. But if we're down 3-1 after this series, that just matches what it was in the regular season. And maybe that's just the reality of what it is, that the Sixers team is fit to beat a lot of other teams, but is just not fit identity-wise or coaching-wise to beat the Celtics. And that's tough to swallow for sure.
Do you think they're just too quick?
Is it what?
Do you think they're just too
too quick? He said.
I don't even know, honestly. I mean, I think that the trade deadline, when they decided to move Thibault and pick up McDaniels, it's one of their issues I felt like going into that stretch was defense, and then you trade away a guy who's really good at defense. I don't know if Thibault is playable in the playoffs anyway because of his offensive shortcomings, so maybe that's a moot point. And McDaniels has been getting in sometimes. But it does feel like Embiid has to play defensively in a less mobile way. He's still getting a lot of blocks, like we were saying at the beginning, but it's just one of those things where it's all kind of
Embiid that's what I feel like. I don't know if it's because of his injury or he just can't go too far up on offense, or they're just gonna be screwed defensively, right? I mean, I don't know.
That could be it too.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
the point I was this is the most non-analytical thing ever, but when it comes down to it, if you're gonna win a championship, at all, one, you're gonna have to beat the best teams. Someone you don't match up well enough against, someone that is better than you, quote unquote. But Like we have to push through and find a way to beat them. I know that like you're probably right. Like we don't match up well against the Celtics. It's kind of been like a thing that people said a lot all the year. If we run into them, it's gonna be a tough one. But like if you ever hope to win a championship, I think it's healthy or not. Like you got to beat teams that you don't expect to beat.
And that comes down to coaching. You have to have a coach who can team with what you have.
That's the next question. What does it come down to? So, all right. So if we're looking at next season, we run through all the same stuff. Great record, second seed, third seed, whatever. What's the change that's going to get us? Is it coaching? Is it some player
next season already?
I'm just if we don't have the players now, or the coaching, like you're saying.
So Austin actually had a good take. So while we were hiking yesterday, you had a really good take about a player who I think would be a really good fit here if we decide to go down that route.
Let's hear it.
I mean, that's more of a player perspective. First, I'll say for coaching, like I think that the most obvious choice is to just switch to a different coach. We've tried this. We've kind of hit the same roadblock every year with Rivers. So
Rivers just can't. I feel like he literally can't make an adjustment.
Can't adjust.
So it's like,
yeah. So, but I think that there's rumors that Harden might want to leave. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's looking far into the future, but I think a player that we talked about yesterday that could end up being a fit if Harden were to leave would be somebody like Damian Lillard, who I feel like would match up really well with Embiid. I think he would go really well with Maxey as a guard pair.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be nice.
I mean, we talked about this last year.
Be deadly.
Too. Damian Lillard. Like that was the guy we all wanted Dame to come here. When I completely agree with that, and I think I would stick by that. I said I probably wanted him more than Harden. But yeah, no, I mean that's
kind of a player that has killer mentality. Like you think of players with killer mentalities, Jimmy Butler, who went crazy. I think Dame's kind of the similar way.
Yeah, I mean, also you kind of get more of like he's like a true point guard kind of instead of Harden, Like I don't know. I mean, I guess Harden is technically a point guard now. Positions are so weird in the NBA now, so it's like, but I don't know. I think that would help the team a lot.
Like Harden came out this year and led the league in assists, so it's like hard. Like his identity, he's clearly been able to change, and that helped a lot during the regular season. But then all of a sudden, you get into this series, and after game one, it felt like he kind of can't hit a shot, and then like the passing really isn't there, where he's just trying to be the hero. Like I think that it's sometimes he's the right fit, but like when stuff feels off in terms of like the way that Embiid and Harden each want to play the game, it just like all of a sudden feels like it's a terrible fit, and I can't really explain why it switches on and off between those mentalities, but it kind of does feel like in some of these games this series in their two losses that it's like they each want to be the hero, then all of a sudden neither of them wants to shoot, and then they're like Harden is just kind of doing random stuff, so I don't even know. It's just hard to explain when it doesn't mimic the way that they're playing in the regular season.
It really is hard to pinpoint it because
it's a great point. Like,
because it's
like
we all
know when it's off. Like when it's off, we're like, shit. Like what's going on?
But like you can't. It just the only thing I can say is it looks wrong. Whatever they're doing out there just doesn't look like good basketball. And it is Harden's inconsistencies. I think you're right on that too. Like his inconsistency is like tough to like watch.
You can't just say it's like Harden though, because like I'm pretty sure like this has happened like the last like 7 or this happened like the last like 5 years in a row in the playoffs. Like every single year, like even without Harden, when we had Simmons, it would still happen. Like where they like we get into this weird half court offense where nobody wants to shoot or everybody wants to shoot and take bad shots. It's just I don't know who it is. I don't know. Like
it's
I don't
for some reason.
Also, like I love Embiid. I think Embiid's one of the best players who's ever played for the Sixers. But like at some point, I just want Embiid to like actually take over a game. Like I think like if we're like dedicating our everything to Embiid, like I love that he's a great regular season player and everything. But like the fact that Harden has more points in a playoff game than Embiid does is like for the Sixers is nuts to me. I think.
So we are
make any
sense. At the point where we're questioning if Embiid could take over a playoff game.
I want him to prove that he can take over a playoff game. I know he's had like a few games like last year in Toronto and everything where he's taken over. But like I want to like see like a 45-50 point game from Embiid in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think it's a great point.
In the regular season, he's done it. He did it a bunch of times in the regular season this year, especially.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
he's got
Embiid's, like,
back-to-back scoring titles.
my
man.
favorite player over the
He can
past
do
10
it.
years. But
All right,
I mean, yeah, he can do it, but he's never done it in the playoffs.
No, I know. I agree with you.
All right, guys.
If
So,
next week and Embiid puts up a 50 piece, I'm calling you out on that.
Embiid's my favorite Sixer of all time. I don't know what you want me to
Jackson's right,
say.
though. We don't
we'll all
see
be
it.
happy.
Like it
Yeah.
hasn't been happening. I mean, the injuries are obviously there every single playoffs. It sucks that they are.
It's not there yet.
But he
Yeah.
has to push through for at least for one or two games where it's like, damn, like look at Embiid tonight. You know? I feel like we're grasping at straws almost, saying like I was like saying like that he played well last game because like he kind of did, but like he didn't play like Embiid.
Yeah. So, boys, final thoughts on this. What's going to happen the rest of the series? Final prediction.
Somebody else take this first.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
Go ahead, Jackson. I'll come after you.
I would like to hope that Embiid does drop a 50-point game today. That after I saw something at the end of the last game where I thought he looked desperate to win. He was out there like trying to like. I feel like I don't know. Like I felt like with 2 minutes left in the game, something like clicked in his head. He was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna lose. This is horrible." And he was like out there trying to like get like offensive rebounds and stuff. And I'm hoping that's gonna carry into today. I think the team's gonna hopefully rebound from the last two performances, and realize that everything, the whole process basically is almost on the line that they've been working for the past like 8 years, 10 years. And I hope it shows, and I hope Embiid has one of the best performances of all time. And I don't know, I hope they win today. I think that they could potentially win today, lose in Boston, win here again, and then whatever happens in Game 7 happens.
Right, Game 7. Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I am hopeful. I think we can get it today, but it's gonna be tight. It's not gonna be easy. They're gonna have to grit and grind it out. I think Embiid has a good game, but I think I think Austin's point of like it has to be a team win, right? But Embiid has to lead the way. He's like, okay, guys, like follow me, but I am gonna need you to hit shots when he gets that triple team. Like if he finds Maxey open, that's cash money, right? Or like something like that, right? So it's got to be a team win today. We get it to Boston. I think we lose, right? But it's going to be tight. It's another tight game. Game 6 back in Philadelphia. I think we get it. I think it's going back to the whole. It's got to be a team win. Like we're not going to beat Boston with a Harden or Embiid star show for one game. We might get 2 games, but we're not going to get the series. Game 7, anything goes. I'm going to make a hot take here. I think they lose Game 7, and then I think a week later Doc Rivers gets fired. I hate saying that, but like
It might not be a hot take though. That's the thing.
It's looking more and more likely. I think I've said multiple times on this podcast, Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals is the floor for me. And if they fall below that, Doc Rivers should be gone immediately. And I think
that's your standard. Yep. You got to hold to your standard. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are right, and like what Austin said, with the team has to look good. I just want the team to look good. I don't want to see any of this sloppy play. I don't want to see sloppy reboundings, bad passes.
Team win. Team
Yeah,
win.
I also agree that like this has to go through Embiid. I think it's been our ticket all season. It's not like we should change off of that mentality now. I think it should be Embiid going and like making good passes, no more turnovers. Like if he is triple teams, whatever, draw the foul like he always does. I'd like to see a nice 30-point game from him. But yeah, I think you guys kind of hit the nail on the head as well with the path of the rest of the series. If we're gonna win it, it's probably gonna be like a Game 7. It's hard for me to believe that this team, as good as they are, even with Embiid's injury, loses in 5 to the Celtics. I think we're too good to lose in 5. So I think like maybe we do go down 3-2, but it's hard to see this team going down in 5 games.
I would agree with that.
I hope so.
Austin, any thoughts on how the rest of the series is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could end in 5 games, and I wouldn't be that surprised, just with the way that things are going, the way things went against them in the regular season, like I was saying. But they are definitely capable of making it to 7, winning a series here. Like, it's not off the table by any means. And I think that it's just the theme of what this episode has been. They just have to find a way to win. It's as cliche as you can get, and it's not very helpful when you're probably from a coach saying stuff like that because it's very generic. But it's like the good teams just find a way to win in every sport, and if they don't do that, then that's your legacy.
Especially in playoff basketball. Now, I agree with all of you guys. I think they win today, and I think based on the team that we see today, they could get to a game 7. I see us winning today, going back to Boston. I think Boston wins there. If we get an ugly win today, I'm thinking we lose in game 6. But if we're looking like the team that we should be looking like, I think we get it to game 7. And I don't know. I honestly don't know what happens there. It's hard to win at the Garden with Boston fans. They're crazy too. Not as good as Philly fans, of course, but I depends if this team can really come back. And I don't know, something about game 2. I think we felt overconfident from winning game 1. I think game 3 we felt overconfident because it was Joel's MVP. I don't know. I'm trying to play into the emotions of this too, but I think today, after game 3, I think they realize, well, shit, like we need to really get our stuff together, or else we're straight up done. So. Pretty much in agreement with you guys. Embiid needs to lead the charge, but be himself. But the team has to step up and be the same team that we saw from game 1.
Team win with Embiid leading the way. That's what it has to be.
That's the message.
That is the
All right.
message.
Let's turn it to the Eagles, because I don't know if we talked much about the draft in the last podcast. Maybe we did a little bit, but we got a lot of pieces here. We got DeAndre Swift, Howie doing some crazy things in the first round, like he did with AJ Brown last year. Nolan Smith, also Jalen Carter in the first round, which I think we walk away, I'm basically where I'm at, like happy with how the draft turned out, at least for that. I'm just speaking to like that first pick, how that turned out, because we had a feeling like Bijan might go to the Falcons. And if we get Jalen Carter, that's a win. So I'm happy with how it turned out. If Bijan fell to us, I might have said pick him, but I think we're in a good spot. Now the question is, what's next for this season? Is there any other pieces that we need to fill? And how are you guys feeling about the season with all the pieces that we've already added at this point?
I don't think you can ask for much more from a Super Bowl team coming out of the draft the way we did. I think they did pretty much exactly what you expected them to do. Especially when they went and got Swift, and then they added that running back room, which I think is like probably one of the best in the league now, if not the best. When you have a Super Bowl team and you add like pieces, like players that are going to attribute right away, I think that's the best way to go about it. Especially since these next 2, maybe 3 years is our window for sure. It looks like a team that's ready to go to the Super Bowl again. I mean, getting some depth on the D line. Getting, like I said, the running back, DeAndre Swift, getting Nolan Smith, those are all great first round talent kind of guys. I think we added a safety too in the second round.
Yeah, third
That
round pick.
Yes, Steve Brown.
Yeah, that's what we needed as well. We needed somebody there. Hopefully he can contribute right away. I'm really happy with how he did. I think he did exactly what I wanted to do personally, which was just add for the near future instead of pushing it back a little bit like he usually does.
Yeah.
That draft was like absolutely nutty. I feel like this whole offseason is. I feel like going in this offseason, we were like a pretty bad like situation, and then to sign Jalen for like the contract we did, to get like the veterans back we did, to get Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round is nuts. Especially like that value for our defense, I think is crazy, especially with Hargrave leaving and us having holes at like linebacker. I think our edge rushers are insane now. Could you imagine like having? Oh my god, I can't imagine our defensive line right now. I think we're gonna maybe have like the most sacks anybody's ever had in the season.
Last year.
Yeah, and I think our line's better now. I mean, adding like I think having Barnett healthy and then adding Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter, that line's gonna be insane. I think Sidney Brown. What?
Jalen Carter's got to keep his head straight, though, and I think we have the locker room to help him keep his head straight.
I don't think there was a
That's
better
what
team he
everybody
could have been
said,
drafted to. Yeah, I mean, like obviously with so many Georgia players on the team, it's just like
That could
the
help.
best situation for him possible. And then also with our veteran, yeah. And I think I don't know, DeAndre Swift was a huge add. I think him and Rashad Penny are probably 2 of the most underrated backs in the league. And having Rashad for power and DeAndre for like as our receiving back, that's I don't know. we're stacked. We're absolutely stacked. Our backups are really good. We're not even talking about Mariota as our backup. Like that's pretty nice. And then
Hopefully, don't have to talk about
so
that.
like, I don't know.
think we don't have
We're
to
just
talk about
everywhere. We're stacked everywhere. This is the best team I think we've had. I think we have a better team this year than last year. I think it's crazy that we did that.
That's
I
okay.
think our whole middle
Even
linebacker.
Keely Ringo, right? He was a
Yeah.
top 10 pick
Yeah.
projected a year ago, and we got him in like what, the 5th round? That's nuts.
We also got we got a UDFA named Eli Ricks. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick as well.
Really?
Yeah,
From Alabama.
from LSU, Alabama Eagles. Yep.
Which we've hit on undrafted guys before, so
Were they
Yeah.
Alabama Bull Eagles, dude?
No, I think the only hole I see right now is just who's going to start alongside Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
That's probably the only hole, and it remains to be seen because there's going to be some pre-camp cuts. Like I saw Washington cut their starting center, saving some cap. There's some other guys that I think are going to get cut, so we'll see what's available. But that to me is the biggest hole right now. I think across the board, I feel like we're ready to really compete. You know, in Austin, you were saying when we were driving over here, it was like it feels like the NFC is going to be top heavy, and you know, the Eagles are going to be right there at the top.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
there's no excuse that the Eagles shouldn't be a top 2 team in the conference by the end of the regular season. Obviously, I think that they are capable of being the top seed again very easily. But yeah, it just feels like they retooled a lot of the things that they missed out on. I think the division will be tough, maybe even tougher than last year. But I think a lot of the rest of the NFC could be pretty trash. So I think there could be potentially the NFC South could have no teams with winning records. I think the NFC North could be pretty bad too, depending on how the Lions or Packers end up looking with their changes that they're undergoing. But at least focusing on the Eagles, at least I'm very happy with how the draft ended. I mean, it just felt like they got so much. And like I forget which one of you said it, but with the undrafted guys, we do seem to hit on those guys.
TJ Edwards.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just more recently, even last year, I'm pretty sure 3 guys who were undrafted free.
Blankenship. Right? Or
Blankenship,
maybe-
yeah.
Yeah, he might have.
Woo!
Or I think so. And then, I mean, Josh Jobe was as well last year, and at Britton Covey, and he wasn't the greatest returner, but
Isaiah Scott, right?
yeah,
but these are guys that are playing too. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
so I mean, yeah, great guys to pick up. I think it's just great having Howie as a GM because clearly it was a different strategy coming from 2017 where it was like just re-sign the team and we'll run it back. Now it's okay. Even though we were just at the Super Bowl, we have to build up the roster again, and it's going to look like maybe not a completely different team, but we need to fill some spots, really add some fresh and young players into the system. So I think Howie's learning that NFL is a year-to-year league. He built it back up with Jalen and with the receivers that he's brought in, but now it's defensive building in the trenches. Let me ask you guys this: if Bijan, because Howie will take this to the grave that he was never going to pick Bijan, that he builds in the trenches. That's and that's how we do things as an organization. But if Bijan was on the board, do you think we're taking him? Because we did take an advantage or take advantage on the opportunity to get Swift.
Yeah, there's no chance. I think Jalen Carter is such a better player than.
But what if
Robinson.
what if
There's no
what if
contest
Jalen?
between them.
That seems like a consensus around on that. But what if Jalen Carter was gone? Was off the board?
Bro, can you stop with this Bijan bias? Like we know you
No,
love.
I'm just asking. I think he would have. I think he would have.
I think if Bijan was on the board and Howie could have gotten DeAndre Swift for what he did, he still would have gotten DeAndre Swift instead of Bijan.
I think
agree with that.
But that was purely based off of them getting Jahmyr Gibb too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think now that I look back at it and actually how it went and like their reaction when they traded up to get Jalen Carter, even though they only went up one spot, it does seem like they didn't really have much of an interest in Bijan. Maybe that's because they knew that the Falcons were going to take him, but it seems like they didn't have as much interest as the rest of Philadelphia thought they did.
yeah, I guess
You never
I could've
know
seen
though.
them-
Howie
I
could
could've
just
seen
say
them
that.
draft him.
Like that's
if
what,
it wasn't available, I could have seen them drafting him. His mom was wearing green.
that's what I mean. GMs are going to say that every time, so it's like you don't know. Like
We'll never know.
Yeah.
Never know. I'd like to play devil's advocate a little bit here. So,
No, you just really like Bijan Robinson.
yo,
I mean,
you draft.
he's
Is
a
he
good
number-
player. So like, I mean, it's not like he's a bad player.
Who's the number
He
one
would have been a
running?
good Eagle. He would have been a good Eagle.
Who's the number one running back that's picked in fantasy this year?
I don't know. It's kind of like
Is
going
it?
around. Like I don't know if it's not.
Bijan's probably 2 or 3, or maybe.
No way.
No way. Bijan's probably not even first round, dude.
Dude.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
The
definitely first
Falcons
round.
offense isn't good.
Bro,
All they
just-
do is run the ball.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cordell Patterson and like Tyler Algier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tyler Algier put up 1,000 yards last year.
Bijan's getting a starting spot. Let's not.
Yeah, but they have a committee, dude. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna just give it
Okay.
all to Bijan.
Okay.
Anthony, hold on. Just for saying that, you have to trade me Garrett Wilson back for peanuts.
Yeah,
God.
I'm not talking. All right, we're moving.
Honestly, what's his name? Brees Hall is probably number one, right?
Bro, I have.
I don't know about number one, but he's up there.
Coming
With
off of
Rodgers, I
what
think he's
injury did
probably
he
the
have?
best running back.
Didn't he have like a? Did he have ACL? What was his injury?
Yeah, I think he tore his ACL. He had a bad injury. It's
Yeah.
I
like,
don't know. Unless he's an AP situation.
we'll see. I'll see.
Bro, I had Eckler, Brees Hall. I forget. I had the most stacked selection of running backs.
Oh
last
no,
year.
that's who it should be. Eckler. Eckler should be number one. I don't know what team he's going to be on because I don't. Can he still get traded? I don't know what the situation is. But Eckler is a beast
That's
every
wild.
single year. Every single year, he's top 3.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, boys. I'm gonna have to run soon, unless you guys got some more to talk about. Because I can let you guys take over, but I'm trying to ball today.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
we
you go do your
kind of
basketball
hit
thing, dude.
everything that we needed to hit.
Bro, don't you play football? You're like a football player playing basketball. You're
Hey, football is my number one sport. I'm the best at football across all sports.
When's
But
the last time you played football?
last time we played was 2019. I played a pickup game with guys that had like 5 touchdowns.
So you're 4 years retired, dude.
In 2019, you had 5 touchdowns in the game.
I had at least 5, dude. It was not.
That's quite.
With
performance.
Cone-
Were any of them interceptions? Were they pick sixes?
I had a couple picks and like diving across the body swats. Like,
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
So what?
Bro,
So you're
okay, well, I will give Caputi his flowers. This man
trust me,
is
I am good at football. All right, I don't brag about anything else. I'm good at. Okay,
this man is deceptively quick.
I'll tell you, I am Ben Simmons at basketball, or what he used to be. What he used to be, just defensive, can't shoot at all.
that's how I
Or-
feel like every single one of us describes our basketball game is we can't shoot, but we can pass and dribble.
I'm like PJ Tucker, dude. I'm
But
not giving it a
I'll get boards. I'll get assists, whatever. I'll get like easy 2-point layups. Like that's fine, but literally nothing else.
Is anybody out there splashing, dude?
Um,
I'm
So,
not-
Danny splashing. Danny splashing.
splashes.
Okay.
Alex
Yep.
splashes, I think.
Alec is a great facilitator, and he splashes. Yeah, Thomas goes hard in the paint defensively.
Shout out the boys. Shout out the boys.
Yeah, shout out to the boys. So that nobody else listening knows. So, all right, boys, this was a great quick pod. We can put this up as a YouTube short. And
yeah, 45 minutes short.
but thanks to boys for joining. Thanks for Harsha joining on your birthday and special guest Austin. Feel free to come on anytime.
Great guy.
Jamal.
Great guy.
Love the takes. Yeah, thanks for jumping on with us. But any
Better analysis than any of us are giving. I would say.
yeah, more analysis. So any final thoughts? We got the Sixers playing today. I don't think probably no more news for the Eagles right now. Phillies are, I think, doing okay. But what are your final thoughts? Final thoughts on coming out of
First,
today?
must win. Team win. That's how we
Must
do
Team
it.
win, must win.
PJ Tucker, another 36 minutes, 0 shot performance. That's
0
what I'm-
points.
Zeros
Okay.
across the board for PJ Tucker.
Let's go. All right, let's leave it at that. That's a good final thought. It's definitely going to be true. All right, boys. Philly Escape Podcast. We are launched. We are landed. Thanks for joining with us today.
See you next time.
Ooh.